Now it's CSL, Charlotte Sports Live.
Well, if you wanted drama on night one, that is exactly what you got. The first actual racing down here in Daytona did not disappoint. You're riding shotgun with one of the greatest of all time, Jimmie Johnson, on the bubble, and by the skin of his teeth makes the transfer into the Great American Race. His team barely reacts because they know the real work, that starts now.
And Duel 2 brought the fireworks out. Our first big wreck at the Super Speedway during Speed Weeks, with multiple big names getting caught in the pileup. This causes a big shakeup in the starting lineup for Sunday's Daytona 500.
And welcome into another night of Charlotte Sports Live, here live from Daytona International Speedway. I'm Carla Gebhardt alongside Gabe McDonald. And yeah, no lack of excitement when you're talking about the first action that we got to see on the racetrack tonight.
Yeah, big night of racing, and it only gets better throughout the weekend. And we're also going to go big tonight with a visit from the driver of the number 48, Alex Bowman of Team Hendrick. And we're also going to talk a little bit of hoops. The Charlotte 49ers trying to get like the Charlotte Hornets and go on a little bit of a streak of their own. But first, we got to get to the action tonight on the track in the duels, Carla.
Yeah, let's go to duel number one. And really the big storyline going into this one was, could Jimmie Johnson race his way into the 500? Now, he didn't need to win the 60-lap race. He just had to finish ahead of fellow non-charter driver J.J. Yealy. With 11 laps to go, the 7-time Cup Series champ was in trouble, and Johnson spun in a multi-car wreck that included fellow Daytona 500 winners Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Austin Dillon. You can clearly see Johnson just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it almost cost him. Fast forward to the final lap on turn 4, and Yealy just ahead of JJ, but the Hall of Famer makes his move, inching ahead of the 44 car in the final moments. He is headed to the 500. Oh, and let's not let this overshadow Tyler Reddick actually winning the duel. Let's hear from the drivers of both the 45 and the 84.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make the Daytona 500. I'm gonna have to call all of our partners. I'm gonna have to stand in the suite and shake hands during the 500 and not drive a car. Like, this is running through my mind as I'm catching them. I'm like, I've got to figure out a way. And then an almost wreck happens, and it's leave it on the floor and hope for the best, and just went the other direction than JJ's car, and it worked out.
I'm going to have a couple of these tonight, Nasty Beast, and put my feet up and relax. It's nice to get back to victory lane here. Obviously, it's a duel. You know, we want to win the race on Sunday. You want to win here in general.
Now let's get to part 2 of the duels, and we saw quite a wreck with 14 laps to go. Michael McDowell leading when chaos erupted behind him. Ryan Blaney tried to pass William Byron. He's then bumped by Kyle Busch, and you see all heck breaks loose down here in Daytona. We got flames on spinning cars, folks. Blaney was able to get out of his car safely. He was taken to the infield care center, but was released. So was Busch and Bradley Herbst. Blaney, though, was not happy about the push after this race wrapped up. Final lap, Denny Hamlin now in the lead. He was doing everything in his power to block teammate Christopher Bell. Blocked him high, blocked him low, but Bell eventually able to make the pass, and ultimately he was able to hold on for the win in the second duel. That's 2 Toyotas winning the duels tonight, but here's Hamlin on what went down towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our cars just weren't really good by themselves, but in a pack they handled really well, and that's what really amounts to what you can make aggressive moves like Seabell did there at the end. Like, it's because our cars are driving well.
How much of that wreck there between Blaney and Busch, how much of that just changed everything in this race, the trajectory of it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly when you get a handful of good cars taken out like that, it changes a lot, especially the energy of the pack, but still thought it was a pretty exciting last lap considering all the stuff that was going on.
So here's the starting 10 for Sunday's race. We know Joe Logano and Michael McDowell are up front. Tonight's duel winners, Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell. They are in row 2. Then you have Chase Elliott starting P5, Austin Cindric next to him. Then you have Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, the rookie Carson Hocevar, and John Hunter Nemechek rounding the top 10. And I think it was quite an opening to Speed Weeks, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you really don't want to see a record like that, but it seems like Blaney, always a victim of these tough hits, Carl. It was really tough to see that happen in the duel tonight.
Yeah, that's why he was so frustrated, right? Yeah. It's been plenty of races where he's been pushed and kind of knocked out of contention and gotten in these really kind of dangerous wrecks. I'm sure that one didn't feel very good. But really going back to the first duel of the night, I mean, we had Jimmie Johnson racing to get into this one. The duels are always exciting, but there was something about these two tonight that was just maybe a little bit bit extra.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought one of the storylines too, the Fords made up the front row in qualifying and single lap qualifying. But tonight we saw a little bit more from the Toyotas.
Yeah, that was one thing that we talked about, them not doing too well in the qualifying, but them being a lot better in the pack racing. Tyler Reddick, even a man who hasn't done too well in Daytona, his best finish is 27th, coming out and winning the duel. So we now see what the Fords bring to the table. We see what the Toyotas bring to the table. Now it seems like everybody kind of knows what they has going into Sunday's race.
And you talked to Denny Hamlin, but he also said, too, we learned a lot about our car, and that's going to really help us on Sunday. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out if weather permits.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's look ahead to tomorrow and what we'll see on the track. Garage hours for the Xfinity Series start at 9 a.m. Then they'll have practice at 4:30. Then at 1:30, the ARCA Series will have its qualifying. And when they're off, the trucks will qualify at 3 before they do the real thing at 7:30. The only time we'll see the Cup cars tomorrow on Friday is at 5:30 when they have their practice.
Now, Rick Hendrick is no stranger to victory lane here at Daytona, and today he saw the honors continue to pile up. It's the 40th anniversary of Hendrick Motorsports, and they celebrated today with a reveal of a custom Chevy Camaro and the announcement of a Hendrick exhibition coming to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte. Rick was joined by Vice Chairman and NASCAR champion Jeff Gordon, a man who's brought in 4 titles and a few Daytona 500 wins. But for Rick, he's humbled, but it's business as usual, and business includes a 2-day party in Charlotte. Hendrick Homecoming is going to be a free party in Concord on May 24th and 25th in Charlotte, and you can go.
Well, the sport wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the fans, and I was a fan, and I'm a fan today, and I think to celebrate with them, they're a big part of it. We've got a lot of people that come visit our complex year after year, and we want to throw a big party and have a lot of entertainment and fun around the event, and a lot of neat cars on display. So it's for the fans, and we're super excited. A lot of planning going in to it, so I think it'll be a big time.
And, of course, one of Hendrick's success stories is obviously the 48 car with Jimmy Johnson. Alex Bowman, though, now drives that, and he's kind of suffered a couple of setbacks the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, he was coming into the year with 6 consecutive starts on the front row. That streak was snapped, and obviously he failed inspection as well twice, so he's going to have the last pick for pit stalls. But don't fret, he's still in high spirits, and I got to catch up with Bowman earlier today at his hauler. We're now joined by Alex Bowman, driver of the number 48 Chevy for Hendrick Motorsports. Alex, a lot of exciting things for you guys. 40th season. Just take me through what it's like to be a part of such an historic team and all the fun things you got playing this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's super cool, to kind of have the background I had and grow up a big Jeff Gordon fan, kind of struggle to make it for a long time, and to end up at Hendrick Motorsports and be a small part of such a historic history. It's really cool. So to see the 40th anniversary Camaro and the program that Ally has to give one away with Hendrick Automotive Group, super cool. And to see what we're going to do at Martinsville, paint schemes, all that, it's going to be a really fun year. So looking forward to it.
You went through a lot last year. Obviously your injury, missing 3 races there in the spring. Who did you lean on during that process, during everything happening? And what do you feel like you've learned after that going into now?
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot about myself and about our race team. We worked really hard and really well together, even through a lot of adversity. So, while the second half of the year may not look very good on paper, I think we learned a lot, gained a lot of knowledge, and we're in a way better place from it all.
And you're in the 48 car. Obviously, we all know the legacy of that. Is there any pressure being in that car and just following in the footsteps of one of the best to ever do it?
I think the pressure on my side of things just comes from me selfishly wanting to run well and win races. Obviously, there's high expectations at Hendrick Motorsports, and the Ally 48 has high expectations with that, but they're not any higher than my own. So a lot of pressure from myself to go win races.
Do you feel like maybe there's some talks of, you have 2 teammates that have won championships, another teammate that's won 6 races last year. How do you kind of process that and try to take some of that pressure off yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's just kind of goes in cycles, right? Like 21, like Kyle and I won a bunch of other races, and the other 2 cars, I think, won 1 race each. So it just goes in cycles, right? Like the last 2 years haven't been very good for us. I've had 2 injuries that have hurt us, but at the same time, I'm in a really good spot and really looking forward to what this year holds.
Lastly, we hear a lot of talk about you and bears. What's up with that?
Oh, man. For some reason, my algorithm on Instagram has just turned into, like, bears in the woods on my Explore page. So I keep reposting them on my close friend story, like as a joke, and people will text me like, dude, what the hell is going on with your close friend story? And I'm like, I'm getting a bear. So I convinced a bunch of people yesterday at Media Day that I'm getting a bear. His name's Toby. Built a bear enclosure in my backyard, hired a zookeeper, all this stuff that's not remotely true. And people were buying it. So it's interesting, but yeah, apparently it's a real thing.
Why would Toby be the name?
I have no idea. I mean, I had a picture of a baby bear and everything on my phone that I was showing people, so we went pretty far down the rabbit hole there of the lie, but it was pretty convincing. I think there was a big group of people that actually thought there was a bear. It was like, it got to the point where I was like, I'm getting the bear next week. He's going to come on Monday, but now because of the rain, he's going to come Tuesday afternoon. Like, there was a long, elaborate story with it. So I don't know why. It made Media Day more fun, I guess.
There's a rapper that goes by the name of Mystical that says, if you ever see me in a fight with a grizzly bear, help the bear. Can we say that about Alex Bowman?
Yeah, I mean, statistically, I'm way stronger, so I'd be fine.
Alex Bowman, appreciate the time, man.
What's that
Three
bear
words.
doing?
Help the bear! NASCAR is the focus this week, but we always have our eye on the Panthers, and today they officially filled out their coaching staff for the 2024 season, making 6 new hires. Will Harringer will coach the quarterbacks. He's worked with the Seahawks, Falcons, Jaguars, and Cowboys. Nathan Carroll, he'll be the pass game coordinator. He's the son of a man you might have heard of, Pete Carroll. Pat McPherson will lead the tight ends room, and then you have Kelly Kakueva as an assistant offensive line coach. Darren Bates will be a special teams assistant, and Scott Cooper is the new director of coaching development for Carolina.
Well, for a very long time, it's just been 3 types of cars on the track in NASCAR, but there could be a new manufacturer on the track soon. We've got details on who that could be coming up. Mike?
Hey guys, back here in Charlotte, we've been seeing a lot of great basketball. The Hornets are winning. So are the 49ers. We'll see if they can keep it going tonight with UTSA in town.
Appreciate it, Mike. The sights and sounds down here don't stop. We've got plenty more from the track on CSL. Live from Daytona International Speedway continues in 2 minutes. Back here on CSL, Kyle Larson making his way through the masses to get to his car before the duels kicked off tonight. And that's the kind of access you get at a NASCAR track to these drivers. You might even catch a Daniel Suarez dance with our boy Mamba Smith. The Daytona 500 just 3 days away right here on Queen City News, Fox Charlotte. And there are still plenty of other things to cover outside of the world of NASCAR, including the red-hot Charlotte 49er basketball team.
That's right. Big baller Mike Lissette
Yes.
back in our Charlotte studios. And, Mike, you got more on the hometown team.
I sure do. It was a major milestone for Charlotte head coach Aaron Fern this evening. For the first time this entire season, he stepped onto the court, not as the 49ers interim coach, but as their actual full-fledged leader. After winning 9 of 10, Fern had the interim tag officially removed Monday. He didn't want to see any letdowns against UTSA this evening. First half, Charlotte came out hot. Strategy of giving it to Deshaun Jackson, working very well. First the drive and big finish. Then later we go from power to finesse. The sophomore working in the paint. He had 19. Charlotte led by as many as 13. Credit to those pesky road runners, as the Coyote knows it is tough to put them away. Off the turnover, Christian Tucker getting ahead of the field for the easy dunk. UTSA got within 2 at the break. Here's the thing, though. They never actually led. You cannot win if you do not do that. Charlotte would put this one away in the second half, winning 79-70. The Niners now just a game back of first place in the conference. All right, how about we talk a little bit of soccer? Charlotte FC is bolstering its roster ahead of the new season. They're not going far from home to find their new guy. Today, the team announced the signing of Crown Legacy FC midfielder Nikola Petkovic. The contract is through 2026 with an option for the following year. The 20-year-old will occupy an international roster slot this season. He tallied 3 goals and 4 assists in 12 appearances for Crown Legacy FC last year. All right, on to football now. Authorities in Kansas City say yesterday's shooting at the Chiefs' victory parade was not a terroristic attack. Instead, they're saying a personal dispute was what was behind the attack. Tonight, 2 people remain in custody in connection to that shooting. There was a third, but that person has been officially released. So far, no one has been charged. Yesterday, 1 person was killed and 22 were injured with gunshot wounds. Police say half of the victims were under the age of 16. Meanwhile, there are some big baseball news this evening as spring training gets started. Rob Manfred's tenure as Major League Baseball commissioner is coming to an end. Manfred said today he will retire when his current term ends in January 2029. He'll be 70 years old by that point. Manfred succeeded Bud Selig in 2015. Now, back to Daytona with Carla and Gabe.
All right, thanks, Mike. Well, if you look dark horse in the dictionary, it says a candidate or competitor about whom little is known, but who unexpectedly wins or succeeds. And early on, NASCAR's new Ford Mustang dark horse is surprising no one on the track.
And it takes something special to truly honor the king of NASCAR. See the life-size tribute to Richard Petty coming to a track near you next on Charlotte Sports Live.
Well, if you ever come down to Daytona, you'll see a brand new tribute to the King. Legacy Motor Club and Daytona International Speedway have revealed the first of 28 new unique statues featuring Petty's iconic hat. The King's hat is made of fiberglass and concrete. It's 6 feet tall and weighs about 1,000 pounds. You can't move these things. You'll find these Petty hat statues at a majority of Cup Series tracks around the country and one special one in Charlotte at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And when it comes to Sunday, of course, we already know the pole sitter for that is Joey Logano, the driver of the number 22. But beside him is another former Daytona 500 champ and Michael McDowell.
Yeah, they're both driving a Ford, but not just any Ford. Carla, it's a new Mustang that's built exclusively for NASCAR. And Queen City News' Julian Sador got in on why this car is channeling its dark side.
The team at Ford knew the target on their backs would be massive heading into the 2024 season. So what did they do? They decided to get even better.
They're gunning for us, and we know that. And as soon as the checkered flag dropped in Phoenix, we went to work.
The end result? The newest generation of Ford Mustang, the Dark Horse. This version made just for the Cup Series. Although the 2023 season ended the way they wanted it to,
2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Ford's NASCAR performance leader Richard Johns admits there was still plenty of room to improve.
The super speedways were great for us. You know, I think that we almost filled out the top 10 in all the super speedway races, which is fantastic, but there's a lot of intermediate tracks, and we did struggle there.
The 7th generation Mustang builds off of what they learned last year, working within the tight confines of what's allowed in NASCAR to get the most downforce to help around the corners with the least amount of drag.
That's the detail that, you know, it can gain you 1/10 of a second here, 1/10 of a second there, and that's what puts you in victory lane.
Simply put, the Dark Horse is more aggressive, not just in performance, but in its look as well. The character line running down to the door into the quarter panel is more pronounced. Even the nose has a fiercer look. But one thing that hasn't changed, the roar of its engine.
Is there anything more iconic than that sound from Mustang?
No, I don't think there is. I mean, from the very beginning, you know, it's always been just cool.
Good stuff there, and here's where Ford cars will be positioned to start the 500 on Sunday. Of course, we learned yesterday that Logano and McDowell will be on the front row. Austin Cindric is the third Ford in the pack. He starts 6th. Harrison Burton starts 12th. Brad Keselowski 16th. Chris Buescher 19th. And Chase Briscoe is the final Ford in the starting 20. Of course, Ford Performance, they're riding high as of late, Carla, but soon we could have a new player as a manufacturer in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation that Honda actually might be kind of coming into the talks. NASCAR officials saying that maybe the talks are heating up a bit. Right now, you only have Toyota, Chevy, and of course the Fords. Yeah. Back in 2012, though, you had the Dodges. So it's certainly something that is a part of NASCAR's history. And a fun fact: the first Daytona 500 winner was the Oldsmobile.
How about that? The Oldsmobile, all the way back in the day.
Yeah. All right. Well, we know that love was in the air yesterday because, of course, it was Valentine's Day, but today is all about the crack of the bat. Spring training has arrived. Pitchers and catchers reporting for duty across Florida and Arizona. The Braves hitting the field today down in Northport, Florida for their first workout of 2024. The full squad, though, they're going to report on Tuesday. Now, if that's not crown-worthy enough, we've got a few other options coming up when CSL returns. We are just 3 days away from the Great American Race. We're hoping we can get it all in so we can see pit road crowded just like this, probably even more so. Coverage starts at noon right here on Queen City News on Sunday. And, of course, it is now time for our QC crowns. Gabe, we got a couple of candidates tonight, but only one true crown goes out.
Yeah, our crown is a pretty obvious one, going out to the All-American Caitlin Clark, because she now stands alone at the top of the college basketball record book. She only needed 8 points to break the all-time scoring record in women's college hoops and got it pretty early with this deep three-pointer coming up right here. And she didn't stop there. Clark finishes the night with 49 points to surpass Kelsey Plum for the record. Iowa big winners tonight over Michigan, 106-89. So some great stuff there. Obviously, we knew it was inevitable. Best player in the college game right now. But not only that, speaking of college, the official teaser for the college football video game coming out today. The official release is coming out in May. Then it comes out in July.
Like, how excited were you when you saw that?
I'm very excited. I almost shed some tears. I was walking on the beach just like, oh, my, it's happening.
The love of your life.
The last game came out in 2013. It's a long time coming. I'm going to be very unproductive. I apologize to my boss.
A lot of people are. All right, well, we're going to have practice results for you and, of course, the Truck Series race, all of that tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.